What does scooters have to do with catching culture? Today on Behind the Book with Hartley Harris from Catch Engineering, we're going to find out the how and the why and the what. Let's jump in. I'm Heather Andrews, and on Behind the Book, we journey beyond the cover. On each episode, I dive deep into the minds of authors, unlocking the mysteries behind their literary creations. Discover the stories behind the book exclusively here with me. Catching culture today on Behind the Book. Previously, we had talked with Hartley Harris from Catch Engineering about fishtails and scooters and culture and becoming a published author with the book, collaboration book, Culture Revolution. So welcome back, Hartley.
Thanks, Heather.
Excellent. So we're going to talk about catching culture. And your story in the Culture Revolution book was really bar none about how you really integrated culture. And we talked a little bit about that on the previous episode about the scooters and bringing your team together.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you'd like to just reiterate to that story as we kind of dive into this episode?
So the scooters sort of, had their life of their own. Like, not only people came to our office and they would see them like, why do you have these things here, right? So we would tell that story about interactions or collisions. And so it's sort of outside of our office, it grew some notoriety. But within the office, we continued to transform. So all of a sudden the scooters got nameplates or license plates on them that you would flip over. I think somebody gave me one that said Boss Hog at one time as, you know, a Dukes of Hazzard sort of throwback. So license plates, and then people started hoarding them. Like they still do that today. Like, we've increased the number of scooters we've got in the office. They hide them like carefully behind a door. Like, it's still accessible to everybody, but not everybody knows it's there, right? So license plates. And then I don't even know at that time if we really caught on to that we were building culture. I don't know that we were smart enough to figure that out, although we did like telling that story. So we continued doing things. We sort of rolled through multiple Calgary or Alberta-based recessions as the oil and gas price went up and down. So we continued to rely on our relationship with our employees and building a company that people wanted to work for, that they would recruit their friends. So we had all sorts of theme days. I think the first theme day was a hat day, which was fairly simple. But then they started getting more evolved into like, one was Dress Like Hartley Day. I had a propensity for wearing bow ties. At one time, still a little bit. So I think I ran a bow tying class one day. We had James Bond Day, that you could dress up as a James Bond or a villain, which was much more popular in the office. Theme days around food. We still were going out, as a group with people. Still unconsciously building our culture, but it was doing that. Our culture was developing. People wanted, like, I hear it's fun to work here. We did hear that a few times. That all of a sudden they started thinking, well, maybe we're onto something here. Maybe this is a good thing that we're doing.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the bow tie story, because I know at the book launch you had your little wooden one on.
I did. I had my little wooden bow tie on.
So did people actually started wearing bow ties to work?
It didn't happen in the office. Like, engineers, they gave up ties many, many years ago. But at our Christmas party or holiday party or certain events, you would see people showing up with bow ties. It would be like, hey, I've got to go to this event, Hartley. Can I borrow one of your ties?
Yeah.
Or I would get gifts around the holidays of bow ties that, my employees would think was hilarious, right? Yeah. So I have a large number of bow ties now.
Some of those pillow in your closet, you probably have those drawers.
That's a significant number,
and
right?
They're probably all like color coordinated, and there's probably a few drawers of them. Like,
there are, yes, there are. Color coordinated would be, that'd be a tall ask of me. But, for an engineer, that seems normal. But we see them, not a lot, but we do see them.
Oh, that's awesome. Sure. I love that. Scooters and bow ties. That sounds like another book.
The sequel.
Yeah, right. When you decided to write in the Culture Revolution book and you shared your chapter called Catching Culture, and all of it has, there was like building culture and building atmosphere and joining by scootering and all all of those types of things that were super fun to really build that team. What was the biggest transformation for you to write your chapter in this book?
I am not an accomplished author. Like, I have not written novels, right? And so as I'm going through that, it was learning for myself as I'm like, okay, well, culture, I'm going to write about culture and these great things. And as I started detailing those things, I didn't start with a theme, the theme I've got. I didn't start with that theme when I started writing it. I just started detailing, these are the things, okay, these are the things we do. This is what's neat about our shop. And it was only in writing that I actually realized what had transformed in terms of, that whole accidental and purposeful culture development, and that we were actually building something, that we weren't conscious of as we were going through. And then all of a sudden it flipped. I'm like, well, this was purposeful and this wasn't. It was actually quite amazing.
Yeah.
To realize that. I'm sure somebody else would be like, oh, that seems, yeah, okay, that's how it happened. But to me, it was very transformative to realize that we had been through that journey and what that sort of meant to our organization.
Yeah, I love that. And when I was reading your chapter, I was just like, oh my goodness, this sounds like such a fun place to work. Because we'd only really spoken on the phone.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really met you until you came into studio. And when I was reading your chapter, I'm like, this is a really cool company to work for. I'm not going back to school to become an engineer, but this is a really cool place to work. And I think that it took me back to my own management days in healthcare and how they had implemented culture at the company that I was a manager at. And of course, there was some tequila involved, but that was one of those accidental things that we just don't want to talk about. But anyway, moving on. But I'm sure that there were some of those as well. And I really love how you said that it became accidental versus purposeful.
Yeah.
And it had its natural transition. And I think part of the reason is that you were open to trying things on to see if they worked and how they worked. And that's probably why you've had the success that you've had today. Would you say?
There was definitely cultural experimentation that, as we sort of went along, like, we've had a variety of styles of social committees and of people that are involved in that, or what do we do as events. Some of them work awesome, and some of them, maybe we won't do that again. Like a few things, dress-up days, scooters, like 18 years later, 16 years, when we had our office, like, we still do those things. Yeah. I actually, and now that I'm aware, I have this newfound awareness about our journey, I actually use those tools as a recruitment tool. Like, we have somebody come in, I think I've shared this with you before. If I have somebody come in for an interview and I'm like, I really, I like this person, they've got the technicals, they have all the stuff we want, how do we get this over the line? I'll be like, hey, do you want to see the office, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to take a scooter? And so we'll actually do a tour of the office on scooter, and there'll be some safety talks like, okay, watch out, this is a blind corner here. But all of a sudden they've done this, we've zipped around the office pretty quick. It's not massive, right? But it is a loop. And by the end of it, I'm hoping that they have that feeling like, okay, well, I really, I like this, the job is a good opportunity, but I really liked that space, or I liked that environment, or I liked how I was treated. I want them to come away with some of that non-tangible culture piece. They're like, I can see myself working here.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't know if it ever works. Like, some of them come and work for us and some of them don't. I don't do a closing survey to know if I was successful, but I think it does have an effect, a positive effect.
Well, I think I always say that you always want to be the one that people remember.
Yeah.
And even if they didn't work for you, they probably went and told their friends, or do you believe that guy over there? Like, that company, they've got such a fun work environment. I've
had that before. Like, people, are you the guy with the scooters? Like, I've had people like that I didn't really know or I knew of them. I'm like, that's us. And it's such an awesome, like, it's such a simple thing, but it's such a great feeling that sort of word of what we do has got out there, and it's positive. That those kinds of things are positive.
In your chapter, you kind of you relate back to one of the most recent initiatives in your company, and it was a card game.
Yeah. Catch Nasta.
Catch Nasta. Yes, Catch Nasta. Can you give us a little bit of insight about what that is?
So, the folks at INTA helped me do that, and what my intention was, I wanted to create an onboarding program. So people start for a company and they have to read the safety manual and look at the web page and groan. How do you build onboarding around culture and around other people? So we came up with, and there was some trial and error to this, of course, but we came up with this game that provides challenges to new, so we refer to our employees as anglers, right? So to new anglers, they would participate in this game. Catch Nasta is like Canasta, it's a card-based game. That would have them challenge, like have coffee with somebody that you haven't had coffee with. Provide a shout out for somebody who does a great job. So it addresses new employees, and that's sort of the bottom, like 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s in the card deck. And then as you advance or move up in suit, it's really built around existing anglers, their continued development, that they get to know new people, so that the whole company can sort of participate. So we've got this fish bowl that you fill with plastic fish, and there's awards as you go along. Like it has taken some time. Engineers are sometimes a little introverted, or sometimes like not willing to come out of their shell. And we've been working at this for a while now, and our fish bowl is like, I don't know, a couple inches filled with plastic fish, that there's a party coming up to celebrate, sort of all of this new learning about each other. So the game has been, it's been lots of fun, I think. I'm really proud of it. I love talking about sort of this onboarding process with others, and how, we're trying to be purposeful about what we do, instead of just like, I don't know why that worked, but it did.
Yeah. And being that, as we wrap up, I know that you have a really cool onboarding process for your employees. Can you just share a little bit about that?
The onboarding process is Catch Nasta.
Yeah, Catch Nasta. And then when they start...
I get what you're asking. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we had one today. We have, they get the manual, read these things. And then on their first day, so they've got a list of things, log into the computer, blah, blah, blah. But then they get told, well, at 11 o'clock, we're having a coffee party. What do you mean? Oh, well, there's a reception in the boardroom for you, because you're new. And so, just be there at 11. Not everybody takes to that really well. They're like, that's maybe a little outside of their comfort. But everybody stops, there's pastries and there's coffee, and everybody stops what they're doing, and they come, they meet the new person, introduce themselves, what department or what group do I work in? At their when they show up at their desk, there's like balloons on it, like everybody knows where the new person is sitting. And so it was sort of our effort, not only to draw our new employee into our culture, but help our employees, which, are of all sorts of like like some are introverted and some are not, like help them, like, oh, there's a new person, let's go meet who they are. Well, I'll get a snack. And it just creates this nice mixing of, sort of our existing culture, welcoming this new person that is a new facet to our culture. I said I'm proud about a lot of things, right? So, but that too, like this really welcoming environment. And I don't know that I remember starting jobs when I was a kid. It's like, oh my gosh, I work here. I don't want anybody to have that feeling, right? That their computer wasn't ready. They didn't like the people they started with. I want them to come in and go, wow, this is a great place. I'm so glad I made this choice, right? Absolutely. That's the emotion that I want them to have.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that was one of the things that when you were talking about that at one of the events that I just loved that sense of that welcoming. And it gives that sense of I matter.
Yeah.
Which is part of that culture piece. I can't tell you how many times I've started a job and went, I don't have my username. I don't have my login. I got to check the email. I'm supposed to go through the manual. So
there's no computer here.
I don't have my laptop. I can't do any of the things they want me to do. I get it. And when you talk about that, you said that you're proud, you've taken pride in something.
Oh yeah.
And you should, because you've created something that is bar none. So and that's what I really loved about your chapter.
Yeah.
It was like, just have fun with it. So where can people reach you on social media, Hartley?
You can find me on LinkedIn at Catch Engineering, or my email, hartley@catchengineering.com.
Excellent. Thank you. You've heard Catch Culture from Hartley today. Catch us on our next episode as we move into accidental versus purposeful culture. And make sure you go and buy the Culture Revolution book that is really actual revolutionary in the topic of culture on Amazon. See you next time. It's been a literary voyage here on Behind the Book. My sincerest thanks to our featured authors for letting us peek behind the curtain. I'm Heather Andrews, urging you to keep exploring the vast universe of literature. Until our next chapter, happy reading.